Good morning, friends, and welcome to NPTEL Anti-Doping Program. In today's lecture, we'll be looking into Indian scenario in doping. I'm Professor Dobson Dominic, and I'll be the lecturer for you. In this session, we'll be looking into Introduction to Doping in India. We'll be looking into several regulatory bodies, especially the Indian National Regulatory Body, National Anti-Doping Agency. We'll look into how testing and sample analysis is done. We'll look into ADVs or anti-doping violations and the punishments for it, especially sanctions. We'll look into major doping cases in India. We'll see what are the national challenges which we are facing in India, and we'll conclude with possible solutions for the doping scenario in India. India has the world's highest percentage of doping offenders in the latest WADA report, which is a staggering statistic. Interestingly, last year in September 2023, a viral video of a steeplechaser crossing the finish line but kept on running at an athletics meet in Delhi became viral. The reason was he was being chased by the NADA, National Anti-Doping Agency officials to get his urine sample. Why do the Indian athletes dope? Mainly due to lack of awareness, pressure to perform by coaches, trainers, peers, and poor regulations are the main reason for India's position in World Anti-Doping Agency report. Let's look into NADA, National Anti-Doping Agency. NADA was established by Government of India in 2004. The main mission was to implement anti-doping measures, conduct doping tests, and to promote awareness about doping among athletes. NADA was responsible for coordinating and implementing national anti-doping program in line with the World Anti-Doping Code. The legal framework in India, the India's anti-doping rules are framed according to the World Anti-Doping Agency's code and implemented under NADA's guidelines. These rules ensure a fair conduct of sports by establishing uniform anti-doping regulation. NADA enjoys an operational independence and they work independent of any interference from government or sports authorities to ensure there is unbiased decisions. Statutory and regulations, the key legal acts including NADA's anti-doping rules were first introduced in 2009, revised in 2014 and again updated in 2021. If you look into the responsibility of athletes, the national level athletes are subjected to NADA's rules, including a requirement for testing, whereabouts reporting, and TUE or therapeutic use exemption. So, if any of you athletes are of national level, then at any point of time, NADA can test you. So, ensuring compliance with anti doping regulation is very important, including provision of accurate whereabouts information. So, this is very important. So, any national level athlete should be able to provide where they are staying, where they are traveling to NADA if questioned. Participation in education programs conducted by NADA also is very important for national level athletes for them to be educated and don't fall victim to any doping practices. So, this testing authority of NADA is pretty comprehensive. NADA holds authority to test any athlete at any time, both during and outside competitions. Out of competition testing is crucial to detect substances that clear the system quickly but enhance training performance. NADA follows international standards of testing and sample collection to ensure consistency and fairness in the testing process. Now, coming to performance enhancing drugs result management process. So, how does this testing process happen? During the initial review, after testing an athlete's samples, A and B samples are analyzed under WADA accredited laboratories. If any of the performance enhancing drug is found either in blood or urine, then NADA initiates a results management process. First, it notifies athlete of the adverse finding, and the athlete is given an opportunity to request a B sample analysis. During testing, there is two samples taken from the athlete, A sample and B sample. During the initial testing, only the A sample is tested, and if any adverse finding is found, then the athlete can request to test again the B sample. In certain circumstances, there is athletes are provisionally suspended pending the complete analysis, that is the B samples results, and they are provisionally suspended till full hearing. NADA gives the athletes a fair appeal and hearing so that the athletes are treated fairly. What is the role of government and institutions in our country? The Indian sports federations and associations must ensure that all athletes and personnel under the jurisdiction must comply with NADA's anti doping rules. The laws and policies to curb doping has to be framed comprehensively. Government schemes for awareness and testing has to be educated and sensitized to the athletes and the support staff, especially the coaches and the trainers. Very important is the role of IOA or Indian Olympic Association and the sports federations to sensitize athletes and also the support staff, especially the coaches and trainers, to the curbs and different testing rules. Now, looking into the NADA's anti doping measures, the primary objective of NADA is to educate athletes, coaches, and support staff on the dangers of doping and the responsibilities under anti doping rules. NADA conducts workshops, seminars, and training sessions across the country, and athletes and the support staff are encouraged to attend that. There is a comprehensive overview of testing technologies, whether it is a urine test or a blood test or to for the athlete biological passports, ensuring a forensic doping standards are maintained. NADA also conducts random testing for athletes. They also need to enhance the testing infrastructure, and NADA's cooperation with World Anti-Doping Agency WADA is very critical for ensuring proper anti-doping methods are followed. Coming to the major doping cases scandals in India. The most important scandals are in 2010 Commonwealth Games. Several Indian women athletes tested positive for PEDs or performance enhancing drugs, especially Indian weightlifters and wrestlers. The most important athlete who was caught in a scandal was Narsingh Yadav, who in 2012 he was a famous Indian wrestler. He tested positive for anabolic steroid metendinion, commonly known as Dianabol or D-ball. Uh, he was given, he was suspended and banned, and later his ban was overheld and overturned by NADA, saying that there was some major doping cases in India. 2010 Commonwealth Games, several Indian women athletes tested positive for performance enhancing drugs, especially weightlifters and wrestlers. The most famous athlete to have been caught doping was the scandal was Narsingh Yadav, who was a famous Indian wrestler who tested positive for metandinone, which is an anabolic steroid commonly known as D-ball or Dynaball. In 2019, there was a scandal among boxing athletes when several of Indian boxers faced suspension after testing positive for banned substances. The most common sporting events which have suffered from doping are wrestling, weightlifting, and track and field. Trends in anti doping violations. If you look into the statistics, India has consistently ranked among the top three countries for doping violations since 2018. Young and emerging athletes are particularly vulnerable, especially in sports like weightlifting, athletics, and bodybuilding, and they show a higher rate of doping violations compared to other sports. The most common doping substances found in Indian athletes include anabolic steroids, stimulants, and diuretics, which is commonly taken for masking other drugs. Now, looking into the testing data, sample collection and analysis, NADA conducts thousands of tests annually across all sports. In 2021 alone, approximately 3,500 samples were collected for testing, with a focus on both in competition and out of competition testing. All samples were sent to WADA accredited laboratories, ensuring the highest standard in testing procedures. Each sample is tested for various categories of prohibited substances depending upon athletes, sport, and competition. Coming to the accredited laboratory and the sample analysis, all samples which are collected by NADA are analyzed at WADA accredited laboratories only. These labs follow strict international standards for testing and handling of samples. The primary laboratory for Indian athletes sample testing is the National Dope Testing Laboratory NDTL located in New Delhi. Independent Observer Program. So this program is run by World Anti-Doping Agency and ensures that anti-doping testing at major national and international events is conducted fairly and transparently. NADA invites World Anti-Doping Agency WADA to send independent observers to major national events like national games, Indian Premier League, all to monitor doping control procedures. The role of independent observer is to audit the sample collection, analysis, result management process so that to ensure compliance with WADA standards. They also provide recommendations to improve testing practices in India. Role of WADA in India. World Anti-Doping Agency WADA plays a significant role in monitoring and guiding anti-doping efforts in our country, India. WADA provides NADA with access to anti-doping administration and management system, commonly known as ADAMS, for managing doping data. NADA also operates under WADA's guidance, ensuring that the anti-doping practices in India are in line with the global standards. WADA provides training and technical assistance to NADA. WADA regularly audits Indian laboratories and testing facilities to ensure they meet international standards for accuracy and fairness. Coming to the challenges and solutions for anti-doping in India. The main challenge is the lack of resources. NADA's testing infrastructure needs to be significantly enhanced and more investment is required to match international standards. We need to be aware about the gaps. Many athletes, especially at grassroots level, remain unaware about the anti-doping rules and dangers of performance enhancing drugs. Technological advancements. NADA needs to invest in new testing technology to improve, including improving the biological passports and DNA sequencing methods. So, the different solutions we can find is to increase grassroots education of the athletes and the support staff, and to enhance more transparency in sports management, and to bring about policy reforms to prevent doping. So, to conclude, India's anti doping efforts have come a very long way, with NADA playing a crucial role in implementing and enforcing the anti doping rules. Need for collective action by athletes, institutions, and government is very important. Despite significant progress, there remains challenges, including enhancing the education of athletes, improving the testing infrastructure, and addressing the rising menace of newer doping methods and substances. These are the references for today's lecture. Thank you. Jai Hind.